President Joe Biden of the United States of America has bypassed the state's Congress and provided aid to the state of Israel in support of the Israeli military campaigns against Palestinian fighters, Hamas in Gaza Strip. The need to prove additional more aid to support Israel-Hamas war and Ukraine-Russia war suffered setback in the U.S. Congress, with some lawmakers calling for accountability over the U.S. military aid to the state of Israel and Ukraine since the war began on October 7, 2023 and February 24, 2022 respectively in both countries. President Joe Biden, while speaking on Monday during the White House Hanukkah party, said, "Where there's no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world that is safe." Biden stated this to reaffirm support for Israel war against Hamas. President Biden also said that, "You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I am a Zionist." Videos showed hundreds of Jews and rabbis gathered at the White House during the Hanukkah party to demand a ceasefire, saying with a banner inscriptions, "Not in our name, Stop Genocide Joe Biden and Gaza Holocaust." Some groups of the protesters also sang, asking the U.S. President Joe Biden the side of the war he belongs, following reported high level of civilian Palestinian casualties estimated to be 18,000 deaths recorded so far in Gaza. According to Pentagon on Saturday, the U.S. government used emergency powers to sell $106.5 million worth of tanked shells to Israel, skipping the usual congressional review to deliver the aid immediately. The emergency measure, used by President Joe Biden's administration to bypass Congress, comes amid more reports that the U.S. could be running out of funds to help Ukraine. The $106.5 million sale is part of a bigger aid package for Israel, which is worth $500 million and includes 45,000 shells for Israel's Merkava tanks. Israel will use the enhanced capability as a deterrent to regional threats and to strengthen its homeland defense, the Pentagon said. The U.S. has moved quickly to help Israel in contrast to the slow decision-making pace for Ukraine's military aid. The White House has warned that the funds to assist Ukraine will be exhausted in the coming weeks unless Congress takes prompt action. Republicans in the U.S. Senate on December 6, 2023 blocked a funding bill that included aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The Republicans argued that the foreign aid legislation must be paired with significant domestic border security reforms, and they did not deem the current bill satisfactory. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer offered Senate Republicans the opportunity to propose an amendment to the bill, but no action has been taken yet. It would be recalled that President Volodymyr Zelensky in early November had said that the delivery of artillery shells to Ukraine from Western allies had decreased since the beginning of the Israel-Hamas war, stating specifically that the supplies of the much-needed 155mm artillery shells have really slowed down. It would be noted that earlier in December, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky cancelled his video address to U.S. senators scheduled for December 5, 2023, according to New York Times. It is estimated that the U.S. has provided roughly $44 billion in military aid to Ukraine since the beginning of the full-scale war. Opinion poll conducted by some Americans claimed that nearly 50% of Republicans think U.S. provides too much aid to Ukraine. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts in her Facebook page on Monday said, "It's a mistake for the Biden admin to bypass Congress to approve the sale of tank armor for Israel amid unacceptable civilian harm. Weapons transfers demand public scrutiny and thorough review. U.S. military aid should be contingent on upholding our values and international law." Reuters had earlier reported on Saturday that the Biden administration has used an emergency authority to allow the sale of about 14,000 tanked shells to Israel without congressional review, quoting Pentagon. The State Department on Friday used an Arms Export Control Act emergency declaration for the tank rounds worth $106.5 million for immediate delivery to Israel, the Pentagon said in a statement. The shells are part of a bigger sale that was first reported by Reuters on Friday that the Biden administration is asking the U.S. Congress to approve. The larger package is worth more than $500 million and includes 45,000 shells for Israel's Merkava tanks, regularly deployed in its offensive in Gaza, which has killed thousands of civilians. As the war intensified, how and where exactly the U.S. weapons are used in the conflict has come under more scrutiny, even though U.S. officials say there are no plans to put conditions on military aid to Israel or to consider withholding some of it. Rights advocates expressed concern over the sale, saying it doesn't align with Washington's effort to press Israel to minimize civilian casualties. A State Department official said on Saturday that Washington continues to be clear with the Israeli government that it must comply with international humanitarian law and take every feasible step to avoid harm to civilians. The proposed sale conveys U.S. commitment to Israel's security and it will bolster Israel's defensive capabilities, the official said. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken determined and provided detailed justification to Congress that the tanked shells must immediately be provided to Israel in the national security interests of the United States, according to the Pentagon statement. The sale will be from U.S. Army inventory and consist of 120mm M301 high-explosive anti-tank multipurpose with tracer, MPAT, tank cartridges and related equipment. Israel will use the enhanced capability as a deterrent to regional threats and to strengthen its homeland defense, the Pentagon said, adding that there will be no adverse impact on U.S. defense readiness as a result of the sale. Israel's Merkava tanks, which uses 120mm shells, are also linked to incidents that involve the death of journalists. On Thursday, a Reuters investigation revealed that an Israeli tank crew killed Reuters journalist, Issam Abdallah, and wounded 6 reporters by firing 2 shells in quick succession from Israel while the journalists were filming cross-border shelling.
Which side are you on, Joe Biden? 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 Ish tamid to Karol HaMizbeach, lo tichbeh, lo tichbeh. Ish tamid to Karol HaMizbeach, lo tichbeh, lo tichbeh. Which side are you on, Joe Biden? Which side are you?
It comes from the heart, goes to the heart. That's the warmth and kinship I feel so deeply with the Jewish community. I got in trouble, got criticized very badly by the southern part of my state and some of the southern parts of the country when 35 years ago I said, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist. And by the way, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. Hanukkah is a timeless story of miracles. Think about it. You know, from the Maccabees defeating one of the history's most powerful empires on an oil lasting 8 days was a miracle all by itself. The flame of faith that endures from tragedy to persecution to survival and to hope. That's what it survives to, survival and hope. But we know this year's Hanukkah is different. It's been 65 years since the deadliest day of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. 65 years. Most of you, and I got to meet with 5 survivors downstairs. That's why we're a little bit late. 5 survivors in each of the camps. I taken all my children when they turned 14 years of age. My 3 children who lived and my 5 grandchildren. When they're 14 years old, I put them on a plane. I take them to Dachau because I want them to see. I want them to spend the day there and see. You can't pretend you don't know. Silence is complicity. Most of you know someone directly or indirectly, a family, a friend, who's stolen from you, or wounded, traumatized, or called up in the reserves in this last attack in Israel. As I said after the attack, my commitment to the safety of the Jewish people and the security of Israel and its right to exist is independent, as an independent Jewish state is unshakable. Folks, were there no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world that was safe. Were there no Israel.